When did you realize your open marriage was a terrible idea? A week ago I discovered my husband was on a dating app. He was showering and I had picked up his phone to order our taxi. As the app was not working on my phone, the Tinder app icon covered my face on a screensaver photo of us. We were both 33 and been married for 2 years. I clicked on the icon and went through his profile. In his bio, he described himself as a single man looking for subtle fun. He listed his interests as music, movies, sports, reading, and going to the gym. This almost made me laugh. This man had not been to a gym in his life but was one of those lucky individuals who seemed to be in naturally good shape despite eating an ungodly amount of trash. He also wouldn't be able to tell anybody where the nearest bookshop was. All his photos were from our holiday in Europe. He had cropped me out of every single one. He had several active chats with different women. I heard the water turn off in the shower and threw his phone back onto the pillow on his side of the bed. I told him I no longer felt like going out to dinner and he started yelling about how I always changed my mind about everything. I curled up into a ball and told him to leave me alone. Then I started sobbing, and he let the towel fall from around his waist. He got dressed in the jeans and shirt I picked out for him. He stormed out of the house. I tortured myself, imagining him going to meet another woman from the app where we had originally met. I called my sister, my mother, and many of my friends. They all instructed me to leave him, and I insisted I could not. I simply loved the man too much. I wanted us to be one of those couples who grew old together and spent their twilight years knowing that they lived a life filled with love. I told myself that I would continue to let him use the app and have his flings as long as he always returned to me. I did not even plan to let him know that. I knew I did not want to put him under more stress or inflict more guilt than he probably already felt. That's how much I loved him. My husband got home around 3 a.m. and could only smell beer and sweat on him, no perfume. He apologized for losing his cool and I said I regretted not going to dinner. We had sex and he fell asleep. Shortly afterwards I slid his phone from under the pillow. My husband also did not know that I knew he used my birthday as the passcode on his phone. I used this fact to remind myself that he did love me and then went back onto his Tinder. I took photographs with my phone, his profile, his Tinder premium membership which gave him unlimited swipes, his matches, the messages they exchanged, and the profiles of his matches. I slid the phone back under his pillow. Like I said, I did not mind my husband having his fun, but I wanted to know all about it. I parked outside the supermarket and looked through the window. I saw her at register 7. The woman my husband had been seeing the most, the woman he saw on the night I discovered his presence on the app had served me many times while I bought food for me and my husband. Her eyes locked onto me as I walked through the door. I picked up a basket and shopped like there was nothing wrong. I picked out all his favorite foods and wondered if she would recognize them. Their messages indicated they genuinely liked each other. They were more than just sex but less than a romantic threat. They were friends with benefits. He had reiterated early in their exchanges that he had no plans to leave me, which made me very happy but did not dampen my curiosity about the girls he visited. I lined up at her register. Although the cases were shorter than others, she was somehow prettier in person. She was only 19. She had all the beauty and glow of youth. She told me she was sorry and I saw a tear roll down her cheek. I noticed my hands had been shaking as I lifted the items out of the basket and placed them on the conveyor belt. She sensed my knowledge of the truth. I handed her a tissue for my purse and told her to pull herself together. I asked her what time she clocked off and after she answered I said I would pick her up. I warned her not to speak to my husband before our meeting at 7 o'clock. I collected the woman. She shivered as I drove and I put on the heating. I got us both milkshakes at the McDonald's driveway and parked at the entrance to the forest on the outside of the town. By now her hands were shaking but I told her to relax. I promised I was not going to hurt her. I said I just wanted somewhere quiet where me and I could talk. She started rambling and I could not understand her. I insisted she calm down, have some of her strawberry shake, and speak slower. She detailed how he said we had an open marriage. He had claimed I was also on the app and regularly seeing other men. She informed me that he met several women around town. I wondered how many people in my hometown thought I slept around and was in an open marriage. Although such spousal behavior may have enraged many people, my main priority was still retaining my husband and keeping my marriage intact. I explained to her that I did not want him to know that I knew. I told her that I did not mind her sleeping with my husband as long as she would never try to take him away from me. The teenager then started sobbing about how she could never possibly continue seeing him after this supposedly horrendous experience. I lifted my purse from between my purse, pulled out a fistful of notes, and dropped them onto her lap. I asked her if this brought back his appeal. The sobbing girl counted the notes and wiped her eyes, which dried remarkably quickly. She nodded quickly and pocketed the cash. I started the car and drove her home. I realized I was paying this woman to continue sleeping with my husband and I laughed. That night, as I lay beside my husband in bed and smiled at his cute snores, I felt satisfied. Although the cashier was the only one who sensed that I knew, I scouted out all the women my husband was sleeping with. I concluded each of them was worthy of such a magnificent man, but would also not threaten our marriage. After 20 minutes of failing to sleep, I got an idea. Why not make his lies into truths? Why not let him know that I knew about his affairs but did not mind? Then I thought he would not mind if I also had my fun on the side. I also felt certain this would alleviate any guilt he felt about sleeping around. I thought an equal playing field would equal a happy marriage. I downloaded Tinder on my phone and quickly set up a profile. I kept him in my pictures. I was certainly not ashamed of our now open marriage. I copied his interest exactly. I thought that was cute. In my bio, I described myself as a happily married woman who wanted a bit of fun on the side. The matches immediately came flooding in. The back of my phone started feeling overly hot and I briefly worried it would explode. I started conversing with a man 2 years older than me. That's one way I did differ from my husband. I could never sleep with anybody significantly younger. This man complimented my appearance and made me laugh with cheesy pickup lines. I agreed to meet him that night. I turned to tell my husband I was accepted of unfaithfulness and was going out to officially make our marriage open like he had been telling everybody. I felt a tingle in my stomach of how happy a reaction he would have. Then I decided to let my beautiful king enjoy his sleep and came up with an even better way of telling him the marvelous news. My Tinder match picked me up in his pickup truck outside our home. The neighbor's bedroom curtains twitched as the match drove off, with me in the passenger seat with his hand on me. His house was on the other side of town and our hands got very adventurous on the way over while Taylor Swift played on the radio. I had never been happier in my entire life and I felt my marriage had never been in a better place. We were both getting the thrill of new flames but also got to retain the love from our marriage. The man had a nice house on the other side of town. He poured 2 glasses of expensive wine and took me upstairs. We had a long, deeply satisfying time together. When he had finally finished, I asked for a selfie. I wanted a photograph to accompany the text, informing my husband of the wonderfully legitimate openness of our marriage. The man smiled and stuck up his thumb. I tiled my head slightly sideways and stuck out my tongue. Immediately after I sent the text, my husband called me. I answered the phone with the biggest smile on my face and immediately burst into tears when he said the word divorce.